2019 BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Championships at the 2010 Winter Olympic venue in Whistler in Canada is coming to its conclusion as we begin the blue ribbon event, the four-man bobsleigh. Hello everybody, welcome for the penultimate time to the Whistler Blackcomb Mountain Complex. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, if it's a challenge for anything, this Whistler Sliding Centre track is a huge challenge for the four-man bobsleds.
Well, the track that was built for the 2010 games, the super speedway, you know what Daytona and Talladega are to NASCAR, this track is it. Look at the start record, it's been around since that 2010 Olympics. The secret in this track and format, get in, get down, get around the first curve, you drop 7 stories, you want to have the best velocity right about here. Because if you don't, your chances of being at the bottom with the best time are really diminished. Wedge, well, there's a lot of issues with that corner up there. 10, 9, 10, Luder's Loop, excuse me. Long straightaway, chicane. Martin, the 9 and 10 have been formidable challenges to all the other disciplines, but this is where it gets really challenging. In 11, 12, the 50-50 curve, then into 14. Gold Rush, it comes so fast. 94, 95 miles an hour out here today. Lamondine from Great Britain, he's in the field. He set the record here way back in November of 2017. Martin, this is the big sleds, and the big sleds will be going pretty fast on the track.
They will indeed. Our air temperature hovering around +2, ice down at -3. The moment the sun sinks behind the mountains, though, the temperature will plunge and the ice will speed up. And if they weren't already keyed up for the start of the four-man event, having one of our pilot sleds almost crashing will have set nerves jangling. See Lamondine there warming up, Oscar's Keber Manis. Behind him, Nico Walter adjusting his headphones. And there's the man that they are undoubtedly all looking to as the favourite. He's the world and Olympic two-man and four-man champion. It is, of course, Francesco Friedrich. What about Canada? First trip in training when everybody was taking it easy. Justin Cripps came out, set a huge start, and unofficially broke the track record. That is a statement of intent from the Canadian. Can he be the one to carry away a gold medal here on the fastest ice on the planet? Well, there have been lots of crashes in training. We have 23 sleds in the field. Unfortunately, Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco is among those who've had to pull out. We spoke to him yesterday evening. The French also broke their two-man sled, so they have now headed home. But Rinaldi still here. He and his team will be joining the fans trackside to watch 23 four-man sleds packed full of adrenaline and talent on this Whistler Sliding Centre. The four-man bobsleigh World Championships is about to get underway. The honour of being the first off goes to our debutante, Sung Kai-chi of China, the 22-year-old who only started sliding in January 2017. He's raced here a couple of times before.
No, Martin, this is his first ever trips down the Whistler track, where on Tuesday, he's the under-23 four-man title holder from Koenigsegg last month. Pierre Luder says this kid's got a lot of talent. Every member of the Chinese team is under the age of 26, and Luders likes what he's working with.
They competed in two-man in Pyeongchang, and he competed in the two-man race as well. And they are going to give us an indication of how tricky this track is. Through the slower corners, it looks fairly undramatic, 4 to 5. Less of an issue for the big four-man sleds with all the weight keeping them on the ice.
Those sports cars had a lot of problems. Those two-mans up there in 4 to 5, but four-mans, they run a little truer.
9 to 10, little
This
skinny.
is where it gets a little dicey. Right here.
Don't want to get knocked away. Out of 50-50, little rattly.
Speed. Up there, 152 for the Chinese sled.
First sled down, it will only get faster.
50.87, the track record is going down quickly.
Okay.
That's only 20 hundredths away from the track record,
and
Martin.
he is a new driver.
He's only got 6 trips down the track. That's his 7th trip ever. Oh boy.
And they were 2/10 off the start record as well.
China. This kid won the under-23 Junior World Championships in Königssee, which is quite an accomplishment. This is the danger zone, the 50-50 curve. Very forgiving. You saw some runner chips. He did make an attempt to try and steer this big sport utility off that exit. Look, they went way up. They went way up, so this is going to delay things a little bit for our next athletes.
Next sled up is Switzerland's Michael Vogt at the end of his second year only of driving. His first World Championships, just 21 years old, former gymnast and shot putter. And it was the 2013 World Champion Ivo Hrug who spotted him at a track meet and recruited him into bobsledding. Seaman Friedley makes his return, first race at the senior level this season for him. And on the back of the sled, Sandro Michel, who was on the two-man sled that finished in 13th place. And this young man, no question about it, lots of talent. Had never raced here in Whistler before this fortnight.
Best finish of the year, 11th place last week in Calgary.
Europa Cup last year, World Cup this year. Prior to that, nothing in sliding.
Start 482, expect that. 470 is the start record. That could go down tonight too. That's a record's been around since the Olympic Games in 2010, Andre Lange. But he's already 1000s back to 600s. Should have checked the velocity.
He was the fastest, 63.5, so a little quicker than Chinese sled.
Right, he lost back that start advantage. And he's got it back now, though, but he's driving a very fast sled. This is Rico Peter's sled, which has won medals on this track before.
Yeah, Rico Peter finished in silver here 2 years ago behind multiple offender Alexander Kazyanov, who won 2 straight races here.
Look at the speed!
Silver, big
huge!
Speed
this is a speed record here. 156 flat.
And a new track record. Second sled down. There's a Yoffel. There is a Yoffel for Christoph Langen.
I'm predicting now we're going to go below 50 seconds, which is absolutely incredible. Wow. The Olympic record in 2010, we got to check that out. But hey, this is into that notorious 10-11. Down here in the 50-50, he comes through here without touching anything, but it gets away from him. Watch the Cowling split here. This is at 96, 90, I can't believe it. 6.9
at the bottom.
Track record, speed record. Nothing in the world has ever come down a bobsled track faster than that.
There's Michael Vogt, and this race is going to be about your brain speed as much as anything else to handle these speeds, because this is quicker than it was in training. Benny Meyer of Austria, 24 years old, Youth Olympics silver medalist in 2012, team's bronze medalist in Eagles in 2016.
Boys, he's been looking forward to this race.
5th in Eagles in the 4-man as well.
They should be in the low 80s like the Swiss.
And this, for the first time, is where his hamstring injury doesn't harm him so much. 479, big start from Benny Meyer.
64.4, keep track of that velocity at the start, especially with these big sport utilities. 1400s up. He's been injured, wounded all year. He's been putting everything on the 4-man race here at the World Championships.
He even had to take a couple of weekends off after sitting in the sled for 2 World Cup weekends because he was getting no fitter. Great run from Benny Meyer, 2100 up over Michael Vogt. It's another track record coming unless he drops into the red.
Could be 197 or 97, 154.
95.4, not as quick as Michael Vogt, but he's going to break the track record again. 50.2. Yoffels a go-go. All right, we are in the fastest 4-man bobsled race ever.
Martin, the other thing is the words going back up top that 50-50 is very forgiving. The IBSF has done a great job with chiseling the ice, digging out the ice, giving the opportunity for these huge sleds at 97 miles an hour to negotiate the turn. It is, whoa, this is up top 4 or 5.
4 to 5, bumps onto 5.
Look at the back end here.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is where the trouble zone, danger zone is. In 2-man, not so much in 4-man. He doesn't come over and hit the right wall or right his left.
Had to haul it off 11 there, wow.
Yeah, but everybody has to Robin Hood it. But look at the runner tips here. beautiful lines. But he still didn't have the speed of that Rico Peters sled.
He had the downtime though, he is the leader. Fourth sled away is our world champion, our Olympic champion in 2 and 4 man. Here is the benchmark in sliding.
474.
We're getting closer to the start record battle go tonight. 64.5, quicker than Meyer.
As expected to drift there though. Drift out of 1, drift out of 2. Only 9 up. I thought he'd be more than that by this time.
Little late flop there again. Ice is different. It seems quicker than it was on any of the training runs, except for the first day of 4 man when it was like
only down to
lightning.
6.
Ooh, skids into 9.
This is not a smooth ride by Friedrich.
Friedrich doesn't always win every heat.
But he makes it down to 2.
Here we go. Gonna be close.
I think the Austrians are going to get it. No, 3's pulled away now.
Another track record is coming. Francesco Friedrich lowers it to 50.16.
And that was not a clean ride.
He doesn't always have clean rides, but he always has fast rides. He has been headed in the 2-man and the 4-man this season.
See if they say anything. Was not clean. Look at the way they take care of the runners. Well, this is 4 to 5. Nemesis for all the 2-man sleds. 4-man, his back runner didn't come out of the air. Benny Myers did. Now into the Luder's loop. And everybody's on that left side of that straightaway. He goes down in the belly. That's where he lost a lot of time, Martin. And then this is the famous 50 curve, big steer. Lost a lot of speed back to Meyer.
Got in quicker than he expected. Reacted well, though. He likes his sled fast and loose. He's got the reactions to control it. Francesco Friedrich leads from Benny Meyer, Michael Vogt. 5th sled on the ice, Oscar's Keber Manis, 25-year-old, has had 2 top 10 finishes in the World Championships in 4-man. Innsbruck and Koenigsegg, the last 2 worlds.
Decathlete driving, sprinter on the back, basketball player, and a sprinter in the middle.
Yeah.
And these 4 guys, 2nd World Cup points this season. They should get a low 70 start also. 70 ties the track record. Watch the velocity though.
64.6.
Wow. Keber Manis.
They know how to get in a sled, the Latvians, don't they?
Only 300s up. He should have been up more than that.
Oh, that was clean though, from 4 to 5. Does the gap grow?
Maybe too much control like he was in the 2-man. I was sort of thinking he came down the track too smoothly. But up to 4. That was better lines than Friedrich.
Faster than Friedrich as well. He's tying with Michael Vogt now for top speed.
10, pulling away.
Another track record. This is ridiculous. They're hitting home runs with every sled. 1400s up. This is going to go down sub 50. Fall down to 50.05.
How low can we go?
We're going to be into the 49s. Where will it end after the 2nd heat? Because that'll be quicker.
What happens when it gets 4 degrees colder by the 2nd run?
There you go.
Oh, Oscars, how was that ride?
2 thumbs up. Wow.
Oh, we've had how many sleds down? How many track records?
He's the 5th sled down. 4 have set a track record. Sung Kai Shi of China must be feeling left out by now.
He did not touch a wall on the way down. Look at the rudder tips. Early, off on his terms.
Yep.
And not the speed that the Rico Peters sled had, though. The Swiss, Michael Vogt.
Well, Keber Manis, the leader now over the world and Olympic champion.
Whoa.
Next up, Johannes Lochner, our joint world champion back in Koenigsegg. Disappointed in the 2-man race, only 8th place.
In down, 76 velocity. Good turn there, 64.4, very good velocity.
Yeah, only a fraction slower than Friedrich, who started 474.
Another drift.
Long skid.
9 back, those 2 drifts didn't help, but he's late there. Almost tipped over in there.
Oh my goodness. Hansi Lochner in his favorite Valner sled. This is his comfort zone. It didn't look comfortable then.
No, they got away from him up to 4-5. Now he's got to focus on the rest of the ride down. You can't win the race in the first heat, but you can certainly lose it.
Team gold medalist here last weekend, his third straight team gold. He's the reigning world champion, tied with Friedrich. He is not going to get a new track record here. How far back? 6/10? That's insane.
Wow, he's behind the Swiss. Whoa.
50.71, 500ths off the old track record. John, that's pedestrian today.
Well, when you see what he did up in curve 4 and 5, 6.
Well, this is shades of the two-man race.
These are the drifts,
handle
too.
The slow corners.
The drifts there. Now in a 4-5. He had bad 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Almost tipped over there. Now watch the exit here. Whoa, when you see the sled, four-man sled split like that, and then he's still not in control all the way down here in the entrance to 10. That wasn't bad, but the damage had already been done now, Martin. And now we watch him climb into the finish, the Thunderbird curve.
High first pressure, Hansi Lochner all at sea in the two-man. Is he in the four-man? Well, what about Nico Walter, our joint Olympic silver medalist, finished in a bronze medal position in the two-man, but this is the race he's looking forward to. Like Benny Meyer, injured this season, major hamstring injury. He's still not 100%, but he's got 3 big horses behind him, including Alex Roedinger, who set the start record with Andre Langer in the 2010 Winter Olympics.
I think all they want to do is keep him 75 or better.
Bronze here in the last four-man race of the World Cup.
Not good there, 77. Watch the velocity here. Had a skid before he got into curve 1. Still the 3rd best velocity off the 4th best start. Skid there, though.
Skidding away now. This is an FES sled, brand new this year, very different from the one that Hansi Lochner's driving, an advance on what he drove in the games as well.
Pretty good. Really climbed high in Luder's loop. Flopped it down there.
It's down towards 9. 74.2. Nico Vogt was half a mile an hour quicker.
Watch out, he hit the tap in there. He's okay, though.
Oh. Now, Nico, like Hannes Lochner, is just a fraction off the pace here.
Maybe the track speeds go away quickly.
Wow.
Wow, 5th, 3,900s back, 1,300s. I can't believe we're seeing a Latvian, a Swiss, and an Austrian in front of those 2 German sleds.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of looking in the locker room like, are you kidding me? Are we seeing what we're seeing? These 2 German sleds were not like we saw in, look how high he was.
Big early height.
Yeah, he's rubbing the wall all the way down.
And look at the ice he's chewed out of corner.
Look at his runners there. That's a Robin Hood there,
that
baby.
That's steering
it off all the way, and that reduces your speed.
Oh, Nico, that got away from him in a hurry.
The only person that didn't steer on the way down is the guy that's in the lead, Keber Manis.
7 of our 23 sleds down. Next up, Maxim Antonov, the Russian, 30 years old, 10th in the two-man race. His best four-man result was in the last Worlds in Koenigsegg, where he finished 8th. This is only his 2nd World Championship appearance in a four-man sled.
Last Russian sled to compete in this track won Kazanov in 2 years ago.
Yep.
The World Cup in November.
And Vasily Kondratyenko from that team is with him here as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if that sled is the sled that won. And this guy, 2nd best velocity off the 4th best start. Now, again, Russian sleds have always done well on this track. Zubkov, Kazanov.
Well, this is another Valner four-man, the same as Hansi Lochner's driving. So has he got the speed at the bottom? He is behind the leader, Oscar's Keber Manis.
Not much, 10/100. That's closer than the 2 previous German sleds.
It's drifting away, though. There has not been a podium without a Russian on it since 2010-11
He's
World Cup.
He could be top 2.
Coming up, he's overhauling Francesco Friedrich at the line, needs a record, doesn't get one.
He's 100th behind. He's 100th behind Friedrich.
Wow, that's a huge start for Maxim Antonov.
Martin, 5 different countries occupy the top 5 spots in four-man. You got to go back decades before you find something like that. That's at the moment.
Yeah.
But
only one Latvian winner ever on this track in four-man, Jānis Minins in the pre-Olympic race. But Oscar's Keber Manis leads at the moment.
Adriana, who's You know, you got to look at his four-man times, 5th.
Last four-man races, Zubkov, Kazyanov, Kazyanov. Those are the 4 golds.
On this track.
On this
the last
track.
4 events, the Russians have won.
Last 4 four-man races.
Okay.
Okay, so now here's the man who set down the marker in training inside the old track record on the first trip off a 4.80 start, Justin Cripps of Canada.
Okay, should be low 70s.
Silver medal in the 2-man race behind Francesco Frigic, 4.76.
Speed. A lot of that curve. Best velocity.
Here we
out
go.
Of the curve. Now, there's 5 different countries on the leaderboard. This could be another country in the mix.
Really nice, neat lines from
Late
Justin
there.
Cripps.
That was late, though.
Off 6 into 7, Luder's Loop. Doesn't get the early height, nice exit.
Top 3 run at the moment.
Now, in the 2-man race, he came alive below the Gold Rush Trail in the last few corners.
Only 600s back, here he comes.
This is what he's been doing in the 2-man. He's been doing it in training, hangs it up behind. Needs a track record to lead, doesn't get one.
Second. 6 different nations in the top 6.
Yep. Now this is setting us up for a hugely entertaining race. 800s to second, 1100s to third, 1200s to fourth, 1500s to fifth.
Mark,
bring it on.
There's 4 heats in this too.
All right, so we need to get the beta blockers.
He came late in this heat, so when he gets some better ice and gets in the mix with the other sleds who came in front of him.
9th out of 23 is not that late, but it will get quicker in the second heat when they go in reverse order.
Some good steering in the middle part of the 50-50. Had a little problem here. He got too far to the right. Look at that. See, a little late off that 15 into 16. That caused him to maybe do a little steering there.
Only 2 Canadians have ever taken a 4-man medal on this track. Lyndon Rush took 2 bronzes. Chris Spring a bronze 3 seasons ago. Our joint Olympic silver medalist Yoon Jong-won of Korea. Best 4-man result for him in World Championships. Lake Placid 2012, his debut when he was 17.
He's won on this track before in 2-man.
Yep. On here 2 or 3 seasons ago. But 4-man is really his forte. The Olympic joint silver medalist with Nico Walter. Can he spring a surprise here? 4.80.
Velocity. 8, not good, at a skid before he got to 2. Now this is the silver medalist from last year. There's only 1 member of his team with him. 2, 4, 5. Average.
1800s back, John. The gap is growing already.
This looks like 6 or 7. 3200 way back now.
Now he's going to be hanging around with Nico Walter and Johannes Lochner. Normally that would be in the medal contention, but this is going to be towards the tail of the top 10.
Oh, wow, look at these pictures.
8th place on the splits, and we are not done with the talent in this field yet by any stretch. Across the line, it is 8 for Yoon Jong-won.
He is ahead of Lochner.
Hansi Lochner might be lucky to finish the first heat in the top 10. Might be lucky to finish the first heat in the top 15.
What he did in the curve 4 and 5, he's lucky he wasn't still coming down the track.
Well, there is that. Yeah. Yeah. 4-5.
Look at those kids.
13, especially 50-50. They're a quick trip to ER.
Yeah, see, that's up top. That type of skid is costly. Then this is the 4 to 5 section. Tries to get through there on the takeout on his terms. That's not too bad, except he flops out of there. And then into Luder's Loop.
On early, but controls the height.
And look at the runners there. Good pressure, middle of 50-50. His speed was already gone, Martin, before he got to that point.
If you're steering in the middle of the corner, it means you didn't get the line right going in. Yoon Jong-won with plenty to think about. So our first 10 sleds are down. Heat 1 of 4 of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. Oscar's Keber Manis, the leader. What can Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic do? Eagles 2016, he was in 20th place. That's his best 4-man result.
Decent, 478. Let's watch the curve. 7th best start, but the 9th best velocity. Now let's start looking at I can see some people back there and some shoulders.
It's a new sled this season in the Czech program. New two-man, new four-man. He finished in 15th in the two-man race. That shows a lack of experience on this track. He's one of a number of drivers who had crashes during training.
Watch out here.
Late.
No, boys, that's so forgiving down there. Great job the track crew's done.
Speed is good. About a mile an hour behind Cripps, and at the line, where does he come? Ninth place.
He's ahead of Lochner.
Yeah.
By 15 hundredths ahead of Lochner. You can't win the race in the first heat, but you can lose it. I think Mr. Lochner might have lost his chance for a medal.
And that's why he walked away shaking his head. Hansi Lochner 10th at the moment. Still got a lot of good sleds to come in this first of 4 heats.
A little late there. How's the straightaway? The left side like everybody else. Yeah, they're staying on that left side, Martin. And a couple,
Can't
you see
get
the
it
ice
away
chips
from the wall.
Down, and this is one of the first guys to tap on the take on to 12 or 11, and then here into 50, 15 to 13.
So have a big handful to steer it off. Dominic Dvorak, Czech Republic, they are down. 7th in the World Cup rankings this season in the four-man. Next up, a man who's had more than his fair share of troubles here. Alexander Predikin had never seen this track before last week. Crashed in the two-man training, crashed in four-man training as well. Predikin was one of only 3 sleds to go in the final trip of practice yesterday because he needs the run volume.
The last person other than a Russian to win on this track, 2010-11. Steve Holcomb. He won the Olympics and then he won 2010. That's how good the Russians are on this Canadian track.
4:82 start for Alexander Predikin. And his crew will be fairly nervous. Ilya Malik was behind Maxim Andronov in the two-man crew. He's with Roman Koshelev and Andrei Lvov.
Just getting his feet wet and around with the big dogs here. First year really out on tour.
Predikin has been quite impressive on the tracks he knew. Harder to make an impression on one that's as tough as this.
Don't want to be late here, and he's not. Boy, it's so forgiving.
Well,
for the, they're going 96.99 miles an hour.
Yeah, but they've been on it for 2 weeks, so they have got the knowledge, but, didn't stop him crashing in four-man training.
He beats Lochner
He beats Lochner as well. 900s behind Dominic Dvorak, who's similarly limited in knowledge of the track. Hansi Lochner took a bronze medal here in the World Cup 2 races ago, 2016-17, and yet he's not even in the top 10 now.
This is the exit out of the Luder's Loop and into the straightaway, and he gets over there and takes a little candy kiss of the left wall.
Not going to be much ice left by the end
there
of this.
There might not be any ice left. And look at the rudder. He got in late, steered hard at the exit of the famous 50-50.
Well, and that's why they're getting through, because they all know if you leave it a fraction too late, you're over. Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands, 16th equal in the two-man race. His best four-man result so far, 26th place last time out in Koenigsegg. This is his 3rd four-man World Championships.
See Ivo de Bruin as the driver. He's up front, starting from way up front with his both feet locked into the ice. Some drivers come off the back of the blocks. 45, little tap though. You do not want to alter these big sleds up here where the speeds are slow. Watch out!
Oh, and he's gone already!
Come on back.
4 to 5. We've not seen one sled come back up onto its runners so far.
He's crashed twice there earlier, I think once in two-man, once in four-man.
Handles are out.
He tried to cheat through there, which is the way to go, but sometimes the track doesn't allow you to do that.
Everybody is clinging on because your best place to be is buried inside the sled.
This is a long, hellacious ride to the bottom of the track.
As for the fans trackside, if you think the sleds make enough noise coming past you when they're on the runners, suddenly when one comes past you having crashed, you know all about it.
Look how far up this four-man sled goes. Upside down. They finished. They have a time. They got the hook on them. Now we want to start seeing some people moving around.
Well, even if they go again, they are unlikely to make the fourth and final run. Unless there are a few more crashes, they'll be outside the top 20 for sure. But everybody crossed the line, so in theory, they can go again and continue their World Championships. Well, they're all out. Evo is livid with himself.
Just coming out.
Yeah, he's coming out now.
Rough couple of weeks.
Yeah. And the real thing for the driver,
he goes down.
Do not love the crashes.
Goes down, then he comes back up in the outlet. He hit the wood.
He was on the boarding above the short wall. Wow, that's territory that only a couple of the skeleton sliders have explored this week.
Alana Myers tipped over there. Justin Olsen tipped over there.
Well, that was the scene of
tipped over
more
there.
crashes in the two-man than almost anywhere else in training.
No, that was 4 or 5 there. There was like 15 or 16 down on the 50-50 curve. There was a couple in curve 6.
Well, there's Evo closest to us. You can see Dennis Venke there walking it off at the bottom.
Angry.
Yeah, gutted. It's the World Championships. You know, it does have huge importance to these men and women.
Funding.
Yeah. But it's not funding, it's prestige and the desire to perform at the absolute best in the best field on the planet.
Look at the 4 of them walking around. I mean, that's the thing about the sport.
Got to walk it off, though.
Almost all of the sleds gives you the opportunity to get underneath it. And these 4-mans, this might be a 10-minute delay because there's a lot of gouges in these big sport utilities, and start looking for some equipment and some pieces of the sled and the track.
This is 600 kilos plus of sled and man gouging into the ice. The medics have had plenty of experience on this track and in the last fortnight of dealing with athletes who want to go back in but might not necessarily be 100%.
Concussion protocol is a little bit more stringent than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Put me in, coach doesn't cut it with the medics these days, and rightly so. See the huge gouges the sled leaves in the ice, and right through those striations, which are the runner marks.
You don't want to get your runner in there.
No.
That's what he's got the walkie-talkie saying. It's clear here. You can see where he is there. He's going back up, so there's a coordinated effort. I mean, again, the whole track. You've got 1,000 meters of this track is under siege with this crash. So there's the sidewall. Well, everybody's come down has hit that sidewall.
Yeah.
So they're just doing a little patch on that.
Bit of general housekeeping while you've got a chance.
Look at how experienced the track crew is. I mean, most people would walk up and just look at the grooves where the sled had come and crashed. He knew because so many sleds had hit there.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a back look at the track itself, especially curve 4 and 5 where he didn't make it through. Well, it's steep. I mean, 16 curves, a vertical drop. Okay, you can see a little bit here where it drops off, but the whole race, to me, is this first. Get in quick, get out, get around this first curve and drop 7 stories and have the best velocity down here in the exit 2, 3. This is what happened to the Dutch sled. 3, got on 4, came up, came down, went back up in the outlet. It was upside down right there. Sled never came back up. Now this is down at 7, 8.
And listen to the wind noise, John. See how fast they're going already, and you're upside down now, scraping your head along the ice.
Tap there. This is not piped in sound. This is how smooth the ice is here.
And this is not speeded up video. This is
real
absolutely frame for frame.
96.9 miles an hour.
In fact, this is slower than they're going because this was one of the pilot sleds earlier in the week. This is not full race speed.
No, it's probably 90. It's only 90.
Yeah, a mere 90 miles an hour. Well, and to tell you, actually, Evo, when he came through the final speed trap, they were upside down on their heads. 66.8 miles an hour he was still doing through the
across the
speed trap,
which is up the exit of the 50-50.
You know,
the Gold Rush curve. That's 60 miles an hour upside down for a minute.
Yeah,
that's not an amusement ride.
A car wreck would have finished long before that. A motorcycle crash would have finished long before that. Well, there's some of our Russian female bobsledders out here. We saw Lubov Chernik and a long wait for Hunter Church.
He's up next. This little 21-year-old guy out of Katyville, New York. What's he thinking?
Well, he's thinking what everybody else is thinking. It happened in training, in the two-man race. In fact, wasn't there a hold before his first run in the two-man as well?
That was a long time ago.
It seems like it. There's Dr. John and Bree Schaff. Dr. John is busy straightening out bent athletes and doing a great job for us as well when he's got idle hands and an idle moment.
It'll be interesting to see which way this sled goes, down or back up.
Well, I think the chances are the sled will go back up. Whether the crew rejoin it or not, we wait and see. A lot of our skeleton athletes are still here. With the black cap in the background on his phone, Katsuhiro Koshi, who's coaching the young
and formidable
Korean
team.
Sliders. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of fans trackside at what is still a beautiful afternoon heading into the early evening here. Brendan Doyle there right in the centre with the hoodie on, slid for Ireland in the men's skeleton competition. And actually, even spoke to Evan Neufeld of Canada, who's flown in, former skeleton slider, to see the four-man and the skeleton races today. So lots and lots of interest from the sliders in each other's disciplines, John.
Well, this, let's take a look back 2 years ago, World Championships in Koenigsegg. Unbelievable amount of people. Nico Walter, he comes down. He's in third place at the end of the 3 heats on a track that he really knows very well. He's Bavarian. Into the chicane, big long Kreisel. There's 1 medal for Germany. Look at the weather and the crowd. Now first, there's no second, because this guy, Johannes Lochner, who right now is in third to last, 11th place. He comes down, he's from Berchtesgaden, lives, born and raised a mile down the track. He posts the best time. He's the leader with 1 sled to go. It's his German teammate. Martin, you and I have done a lot of races. The energy on this track, our commentary box was in the crowd, and he came down, he was skidding there. We couldn't predict what was going to happen across the finish line, and they tie to 100th of a second.
What a result it was. German
our commentary box is right there. Yeah. It was shaking.
It was shaking. German clean sweep and a joint gold medal for the world champions.
And we thought there's going to be a German clean sweep here, possibly like we just saw in women's skeleton. But at the top of the leaderboard is Keber Manis, Cripps, Friedrich, Andrianov, Meyer, Vogt. 6 different nations in the first 6 placings.
And in fact, there are 8 different nations in the top 10. There are 2 Russian sleds, 2 German sleds. So there are 8 different nations in our top 10 sleds. But we still have a while to go. So Richard Laubenstein there, who looks after all the US sleds, just checking with the officials, how long is the wait still?
Now remember, the 4-man, the 2-man comes down, tips over in curve 4 or 5, and that's like 690 pounds. Or 890 pounds coming down. The 4-mans are so much heavier. Look at the standings.
Yeah.
And Martin, the speeds. The best speed is in 5th place. Vogt, 96.9 miles an hour. Well, unbelievable. We thought we were going over 90 8 years ago.
Keber Manis, the last 2 worlds, 10th place in both. It was the other Oscars Melbardis, who was just eased off the podium last time out into 4th place. He's not racing this season, but Keber Manis has definitely stepped up to the plate. He has not had a win this season, either in 2-man or 4-man. He's had a bunch of medals, and it looks like we are counting down to restart the race. Hunter Church and his crew are back out.
Track's cleared.
Kyler Allison, Blaine McConnell, and Kyle Wilcox. Yeah. Hunter Church, 22 years old, in his first ever World Championships.
Got a mixture from around the U.S. Allison's from Austin, Texas. McConnell's from Tacoma, Washington. Yeah. That's not far from here. And then you got Kyle Wilcox from Tampa. And the driver, Hunter Church, is from Katyville.
Well, Hunter was expecting only to do 4-man, but when Justin Olsen crashed in training, after 1 day, he was drafted in to replace him in the 2-man, and after just 3 training heats, finished in 19th place on his 2-man world debut. Here he is, making his debut in the World Championships as a 4-man driver. Hip surgery in the summer means that he's not as fast or strong as he wants to be, but with 3 big horses behind him in this sled, that will be less of an issue in the four-man.
21 years old. Youngest driver in the competition.
Now you're asking.
He is, the Romanian down here.
22, yeah, I think you're right. He is in the four-man. Yes, he is. Mihai Tentia at 20 was the youngest in the two-man field. Here we go. Now these guys have come down from being ready to go and have had to hype themselves back up again in a 2-minute window. 486, just 100 slower than Ivo de Bruin.
9th best velocity off the 15th, 13th best start, so the guys get in the sled well. Little skid from Hunter. First ever World Championship four-man. He just did the two-man.
4 to 5, bumps onto 5, but he's safely through the first of our big bear traps.
He's been on this track for NAC. Ooh, big skid, one of the bigger skids we've seen through 7.
Now, key to his first run will be get it down safe and reasonably well placed and just build himself some confidence.
This is a very pedestrian run for Keber's youngest in the field.
Well, particularly
makeshift crew.
10-minute track hold, 15-minute track hold, gets it down, gets it done, comes across the line, ahead, not quite ahead of Sun of China, 400s behind him, but they've got it done, and that was a big test of nerve for Hunter Church.
Well, he's right behind the Chinese, but the Chinese went first, and the Chinese went about 40 minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
45 minutes ago.
So, well, Hunter Church, that was a good 15-minute track hold.
Yeah.
That's really tough on the nerves.
4 to 5. Now, this is where the Dutch sled crashed. Hunter, pretty good lines. You can see all the damage, but this cost him 2/10 right here. Hard to get those big sport utilities in a skid like that, but when they do, they have a mind of their own. The two-mans, you see more action on the track.
Lots more work to do, 3 more heats.
3 more heats. Next up is Canada's Chris Spring, the last Canadian to win a medal in four-man on this track. Bronze in 2012-13. He's got new young team, William Auclair and Dexter Janke, new this year, and the veteran Neville Wright. His final weekend on ice after 10 seasons, having started here a decade ago. The huge man on the back is going to finish his career where it began.
86. Tap there, 9th best. But the Springer, he knows how to bring these things down this track.
Now, he might be a dark horse, John, a sensational 4th equal in the two-man race. He is as good a four-man driver.
Start really going to hinder his ability in coming late. He might have a chance to move up in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th run. I got to believe this track.
Ooh, that's looking good, though.
12th, could get it into the 9th or 8th, maybe here in the bottom. 11th, starting to move on.
He's ahead of Johannes Lochner, the world champion. Chasing down Alexander Bradikin of Russia. Does he get to the top 10 at the end of the run? He does.
58. He's 200ths ahead of Bradikin. 800ths ahead of Lochner.
700s behind Dvorak. 1100s behind Yoon Jong-won in 8th. This is a tight midfield crowd
He will
again.
move up. He'll move up 2 or 3 more by the time we get through the 3rd heat. He started late, and he started after that long delay. And plus, with all the patching on the track, Martin, remember the guy just patched right there?
Yeah.
You know, is that ice coming out of there? Or is that just hasn't probably frozen in yet?
6 World Championships for Chris Spring as a driver.
Get on the curve on your terms, come off the curve in your terms. That's what he did there.
Yeah. Building speed down the bottom. There's the Springer at the back of the shot. Next up, as Oscar's Keber Manis is our race leader. We'll go into our 2nd half of the field. Great Britain's Brad Hall in his 3rd World Championships. 4th equal in the two-man race. Sensational result for him. 22-year-old Nick Gleason was his brakeman there. They're joined by Joel Fearon back and Ben Simons on the back of the sled.
This is definitely a 70s start. Fearon's been the 3rd fastest man in Great Britain.
Yeah. Great 100-meter sprinter, Joel, there at the back. They all drop in neatly and tidily. 476.
Velocity, watch the velocity. 8th best velocity, 3rd best start, 8th best velocity.
Now,
what you want?
What can he do? This is not perhaps the most cutting edge of sleds, but with his confidence super high.
Yeah, coming off that 4th place in the two-man.
And they are really ready for this. They want to grab themselves some redemption after a disappointing Olympic Games. 2800's back, heading towards a top 6 perhaps. Don't forget, all of these, like Hunter Church, these guys are all now 15 minutes after they think they should have been on ice, so they've warmed up, they've had to slow down and build up the speed again. Top 10 at the line, across he comes, 11th. 100 behind Chris Spring, with whom he tied to the 100th in the two-man race over 4 heats. They are almost dead heat again. 10th and 11th after run 1. There's Coach Lee Johnson down at the bottom of the track.
And he's got the way more experience in the two-man. Plus, Brad Hall had a bad experience with this track about 3 years ago. Bad crash. Tore all the tendons in his hand. That knocked him back. He was driving a bobsled, though, he said 6 weeks later. 8 weeks later, excuse me. But, hey, these lines here, he's right now got more experience in the two-man, Martin, than the four-man. I think he's got a better sled in the two-man, too.
Ben Simons sitting up at the back a little early before the line. That's worth the 100th that they're behind Chris Spring. Ben, he coached Georgina Cohen, the Israeli skeleton athlete, among others. Patrick Baumgartner now, 24-year-old youth Olympic gold champion in boys bobsleigh in 2012, former skier, his 2nd World Championships. Previously he raced in Koenigsegg, finished 27th there.
That guy they have in the back, Alexei Osawa, he came in for a headshot. I don't know if I've ever seen a more fit, chiseled man than that guy. He's a decathlete. Start, worst start.
It's brand new on the team as well, there, Brakeman, this week, never mind this season.
This is an old Stampfer sled. Wolfgang Stampfer, who...
That means he's going to fly at the bottom of the track. Stampfer has got aerodynamic hands when he's building sleds.
He has some great eyes and hands himself as a driver. Speed merchant.
17th at the start, 16th place. They've overhauled the crashed Evo de Brown. Now they're trying to reel in Hunter Church of the USA.
They better overhaul Evo de Brown.
Baumgartner short on knowledge on this track.
16, right?
2/10, 3/10 behind Hunter Church. He'll be doing well if he makes the 2nd heat.
4th heat.
Yeah, I beg your pardon. There you go. 2nd heat tomorrow. Yeah, 4th heat, the final one.
But they go 20-1 in the 2nd run. 21 back, so you want that fresh ice to work with.
Yeah, you want to be in the top 20 on the end of the 1st heat if you can.
Well, look at that, airborne.
Not going to be much time for the track crew to prepare between the runs. They were already 15 and counting minutes delayed.
Well, there's a lot of movement of heads back in there. I don't think those guys are fit properly in this sled. When you see the heads slapping around like that, that means there's too much movement in the sled.
Well, it's a make-up crew. Mattia Barriola only arrived for the two-man. And as you say, Alexia So only arrived yesterday. Lamin Dean now next up with Ryan Lex, Tremaine Gilling and Toby Alubi. Lamin 5th here, beg pardon, 5th in Winterberg in the four-man World Championships. Silver medalist here in the four-man race last time out. That was last season. This is the sled that McLaren developed for the 2014 Winter Olympics.
46. That's the velocity. That skid didn't help. 12th best velocity improved. Got to be straight. Let's look for the aerodynamic package now. Can we see anybody back there? Big men behind him.
Yep. Disqualified out of the two-man. The sled was overweight. Make the final heat anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make the final heat anyway.
Ooh, big hit into corner 9.
That is a deal breaker for speed.
14th at the start, 16th on the clocks at the moment. This is the man who's the silver medalist behind Alexander Kazyanov in the last World Cup race here. And across the line he comes. He's been racing in North America all season.
15.
Well, that is not where Lamin Dean was hoping to be. He's trying to get to grips with this McLaren design sled. The Formula One team helped redesign the British sleds for 2014. It's got an old chassis, updated aerodynamics.
Well, if McLaren stays with it. Takes most sled projects a decade before they start to really figure out. Look at that wiggle as they came out of those grooves.
As everybody's still trying to load as
Yeah.
they ran it down into corner one.
Get in, get down early. Take a couple less steps. It's better for you. Well, everybody hits that part of the wall.
Or what's left of it.
Yeah.
Eventually there'll just be sparks and no ice coming off. So Lamindine of Great Britain lying in 15th place ahead of Hunter Church, Patrick Baumgartner and Chris de Bruyn. Ivo de Bruyn, not Christine de Bruyn. Now next up for Canada, Nick Polignato, 31-year-old, second four-man world championships. Crashed in the two-man race.
Keeler Joyce in the back. He's from Kelowna, BC, 100-meter sprinter.
Came back with Team Canada to a silver medal in the team competition. Fabio Silva, the Brazilian, at 2. Patrick Norton at 3. Keeper Joyce at 4.
Norton's from Ottawa. So anything in the low 80s, I think, would be good. Mid-80s, high 80s, velocity, 17 to 9. Much better load. 17th best start, 9th best velocity. They get in, got down, settled, and Polignato took over. Good
Nice.
lines there. That's where he tipped over the Toomey, remember?
Yeah.
Listen to these out of control sport utilities.
Ooh, he's getting to the corners a little quicker than he was ready for. He's adjusted his
Fine
lines
there.
now a little.
Started 17th, might finish about the same. Track's really lost his speed. He'll do better the second run.
He'll need to if he wants to finish in the top 20. One previous outing in the World Championships in Winterberg, he was 23rd in the four-man. Shakes his head a little again. Nick Polignato, that was not what he was expecting to produce, I think.
He's got a chance to get 20th. Drift there, and then of course everybody's over there on that wall. And you know the coaches are all watching this video. Look at the runners there. That's a big steer down on the 50-50.
Yeah. He definitely had to adjust in a hurry to the speed that they were carrying down there. 19th of our sleds down. So far, Ivo de Bruyn at the tail of the field, unlikely to move up much. Cody Basque next up for the USA, 24-year-old, tied for 16th in the two-man. This is his 4th time appearing in the World Championships in a four-man race.
How old is he?
24, best position, 20th in Winterberg 2015. That was the last time he did a Worlds. Didn't go to Innsbruck, didn't go to Koenigsegg in four-man. Now, Jeff Gadbois originally earned the spot as the four-man driver, handed his sled over to Cody, saying he's got a better chance than I have.
And that's points. Good start.
Yeah.
Really good. Speed, though, 9th best, but he wants to get down here in the top 7 or 8. He's got a really bad draw. Second run will equal up for him. That start's pretty impressive.
Nice through 4 and 5 as well. Smoothly out of 6 into Luder's Loop. Here we go. Now this is definitely a top 10 run at the moment.
He keeps it going.
Lost a little early on before corner 4, but he's stopped the bleeding. No, he hasn't, losing more time now.
I think that's the track now, because
Yeah.
Nick Polignato and Lamindine, who are accomplished drivers, had nothing on the bottom part of the track. So he gets into the 14th position. 14th, there it is.
Well, that's half a second quicker than Nick Polignato just went, so he's ahead of Sun of China, but right behind Johannes Lochner, 200s behind Johannes Lochner.
With that start, he should move up in the second, third runs.
Well, started exactly the same time as Hansi Lochner's crew, finished 200s behind him. Lochner was 6th off, Basque 20th off, so that's a good drive from Cody Basque.
Well, down in the famous 12 into 13, the exit of 13, looking for some air. Can we see anybody back there? We can see some shoulders, looks like, back there in the fourth guy.
Good looking line though, he was all over that. Coach Mike Kahn there with the sled. So 20 sleds down, Oscar's Keber Manis, the leader from Justin Cripps and Francesco Friedrich. It's a tight lead group. Suk-Yoon Jin of Korea is next up. The 28-year-old started as a brakeman for Yun Jung-won, started driving while still braking in the big events for one in 2015. Now driver in his own right for the first time in a World Championship.